Hello, everyone. My name is Rachel Briner, and I'm a part of the marketing team here at Click and Pledge. We want to welcome you to today's table talk on how you can take advantage of our donor outreach tool Shoutout for Giving Tuesday and also year end. I'm pleased to have my colleague, Susan Higgs. She is the director of training here, and she'll be helping present and give you a more in-depth look inside our donor outreach tool. Our team will be monitoring the Q&A area, so if you have any questions, feel free to send them our way. The goal is for you to come away understanding the power of thanking your donors and how it can help you strengthen relationships and raise more money for your organization. But before we get started, I did want to go over some year-end giving stats. As most of you know, year-end giving is a huge deal in the nonprofit space. Historically, there's a huge boost in donations, and finding ways to capitalize on this wave is so crucial. Especially with the rise of Giving Tuesday, the uptick in year-end donations has grown. Just on Giving Tuesday alone, which is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, supporters, they gave an average or an estimated $2.47 billion in 2020. Now, that's huge, and that number keeps on growing each year. I think a lot of it has to do with the generosity we feel after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday. In terms of the month of December, nearly 1/3 of all donations occur during this month. That means that close to 33% of all donations happen during the last month of the year. Things get even crazier right before the new year. 12% of all giving happens in the last 3 days of the year. That is why it is important to use all the tools available to get donations during this time. Now, one of the tools that we provide at Click and Pledge is Shoutout. Before we get into the details of this tool, I want to talk about the best ways to reach out to donors. I stumbled across a Huffington Post article the other day, and I saw something about the power of a thank you. It was talking about how organizations unfortunately put very minimal effort in the act of giving thanks. From this, I found 3 aspects to focus on when showing appreciation. Number 1, make it personal. I suggest picking an individual who knows the donor as the person in charge of reaching out and thanking them. Number 2, make it specific. How did their donation help your organization? Did it help you reach a goal? Did it make an impact on a family? These details will show that their contribution makes a direct impact. Number 3, I suggest making the thank you outreach in a timely manner. The longer you wait, the less sincere and less impactful that thank you will come across. Now, with this in mind, I'm going to introduce a tool that allows you to quickly and easily make personalized and specific messages to your donors. I'm guessing a lot of you here might not have used Shoutout yet, but I'm happy to say that this is something that's already included in your Click and Pledge account, and it's free. With a mobile app of ours called Swiper One, you will have the ability to record and send shoutouts. It's a free app, and both Android and iPhone users have access. Once you download it, you can get logged in using your Click and Pledge account information. Within that app, you can make recordings of audio and video messages, so you can send these to your most recent donors. You can also choose anyone you wish to receive this message. You can do this over email or text. If you do want to send these shoutouts with text or SMS giving, you will need to sign up for a Twilio account. You'll get a cell phone number from Twilio and begin sending. Susan, my colleague here, will touch upon this a little bit more coming up. Also with it, you will be able to create a library of recorded messages. So if you need to use them in the future, you can. We also have provided you with QR codes. With this QR code, you will be able to quickly send shoutouts to supporters. And also within this feature, we wanted to ensure it was nicely integrated with Salesforce. So when people, have Salesforce and they're, part of that too, they can use the integration and they will see that information located within there. With that quick overview, I'm actually going to pass it to Susan, and she's going to go over a little demo of Shoutout and talk about some of the ways you can use this in your campaigns.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Okay, so Shoutout, our feature Shoutout, primarily you use it on our mobile phone application, like Rachel said. Our mobile phone application here at Click and Pledge is called Swiper One. It's a free app, and again, you can find it on your on Google Play if you're an Android user, and then also on your Apple App Store as well. And because it's sometimes difficult to show phone screens, what I did for this tour is I actually recorded this. This is a recording that I did a little while ago showing Shoutout. Sometimes if I show my phone screen, it taxes my internet a little bit and it doesn't work very well. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone could see this clearly. So with Swiper One, you download the app and you're going to log in with your account information. Now, Swiper One, we're going to be showing it specifically for Shoutout, but just so everyone knows, it is a tool that you can use every day while you're out on the go. People come up to you, want to make a donation to your organization. You can just pull out your phone and do a transaction right then and there. And there's other features. You can create a mobile store. So if your organization sells items, you could use Swiper One for that. It also works with our event management application on Salesforce. But we're just going to be focusing on Shoutout today. But when you log into your account, the way you navigate through your account is you're going to use the little menu icon that's on the bottom left of the page. Our development team calls this the hamburger menu because it looks like a little hamburger, but that's what you're going to click to go to the different menu options in Swiper One. Now, Shoutout is about right in the center of the different options in here. So you can just click on Shoutout, and then you will come to the open screen of Shoutout. And that's what it looks like. And here within Shoutout, you'll have your list of your most recent donations. Now you will see on here that some of these transactions already have a little orange icon on them. You'll see some with little arrow keys like a play button, a video play button, and there's some with lines that go up and down representing an audio file. So for those particular transactions, a shout out has already been sent, and you can tell by the different icons whether it was a video file or an audio file. So the one that hasn't been sent is the, oh, let me just mention this. There's also a search feature at the top of Shoutout as well. So if you are, you know, let's say that you don't send a whole lot of shout outs, but you saw a very important donor come through your emails, you wanted to make sure you sent them a shout out. You can also use that search tool to look for specific transactions. Now this will show transactions for 99 days. So it does not have your complete list of transactions, just your most recent ones. And let's say that we want to, let me just take a step back. Let's say we're going to send out a shout out to Barney. So you just click on the name of the person, and then you will go to the next screen where you will be able to send out that shout out. So you have three different options in here. You can send a video file. You can send an audio file, and you can also, oops, let me go back a little bit, sorry. You have the video file, you have an audio file option. You can also have a library of past recordings as well. So if you did want to do something a little bit more generic, you can do that. Now, I also want to point out at the bottom of the page, you have different options as well. You can, Rachel mentioned QR code. I'll show you where you can get a QR code. That's going to be for our Salesforce users. So if you had a contact in Salesforce you wanted to send out a shout out to, you could use that. You have manual entry. So let's say that the person you wanted to send out a shout out to wasn't on this list. You can manually enter that person's contact information and send them a shout out. And then also you have a filter list. So if you wanted to filter through your donations to maybe pull out maybe just wanted to do the last 30 days of donations, or maybe you're looking for a minimum donation amount, or you want to filter by whether shout outs were sent or not sent. You do have those filters that you can apply. Okay. So now let's go ahead and talk through the process for sending out a shout out. So I can select Barney Rebel, and you'll see at the top of the page, you have Barney's name, you have the amount of the donation and the date that it was sent. So it gives you all the information that you may want to include if you are doing a personal message to this individual. So at that point, you can then decide whether you're going to do a video, audio, or choose from a recording that you already have. So you would just select the orange icon with whichever option you have decided. So again, this would be if you were choosing the audio or the library. And this is what the library looks like. So again, audio files would just have the orange icon, but the video files will give you a preview thumbnail image of that video. So in this example, we're going to do a video file. Now this was pre-recorded. So you just click the orange button and it's going to take you to your camera on your phone. And at that point, you just click the red button and you say your message. So, give your thanks. You have the person's name, the amount of their donation. You can let them know what that donation means specifically to your organization. Maybe give them a little insight as to what exactly your organization is doing at this moment, how it's gearing up for year end, what the plans are for the next year. Maybe it's information on volunteer opportunities, a little heads up on things. But you'll see at the bottom of the screen, there's a timer. So you do have a minute to complete your message. And whenever you're done, you just click that button again, and that'll stop the recording. Now that you have your recording, you will see that I have my image. I can play that message so I can hear how it sounds, see how it sounds if it's a video message. If you are happy with that message, once you review it, then you can decide, okay, if I don't like the video, I can choose the delete button. If I am happy with that video, I could click the submit button. Or if I want to re-record it, again, I can just click record again. But let's say for this, I'm happy with the video. I can click that submit button and then we can go to the next screen. The next screen is basically for internal use. This is where you're going to name your recording. So you can just type it in. And you can also select your category for your recording. Is it a personal message or is it a generic message? Because again, it's going to live in your library. So you need to know if that's something you should send out to other people or if that's very specific to this individual. Once you've done that, the next screen you're going to see is email or SMS. Now for everyone, you're going to have that email option. So everyone here that's a Click and Pledge customer, you can go ahead and start playing around with it today. I will say that the first time that we started to do this presentation, somebody chatted in it that it was so easy that they were actually sending out shout outs while they were watching the webinar. So that's quite a compliment when you create something that is that easy. So everyone has this option. So the email option, it'll already be, the donor, they put in their name, they put in their email address. It's already done for you. So all that information is already in there. The message can be customized in your Connect platform. So I'll show you where you can do that. But again, you can have your messaging already in there to send. And then all you have to do is click send email. You also have the option of doing SMS or text messages as well. You will need to set up a cell phone number with Twilio in order to do this. If you are already using SMS giving with us, then you don't have to do that again. But let me just take it back. So with it, again, you can set up that second option if you wanted to send it by text message. If you're sending an email, you would just click send, and then you will come to this screen. It's the processing screen. It's just letting you know that shout out is being processed and sent. And when it is finalized, you'll see a little screen that says message sent. And then you can go back, and then you can see now Barney Rebel has been listed as having sent that shout out. We've got the icon there. And then to get out of this area, if we want to go back, again, we can either click that arrow at the top of the page to go back to the previous screen, or we can use that menu icon at the bottom of the page, bottom left, to navigate through Swiper 1. All right, so that's basically it. So it's a really straightforward, simple process. Now, I'm logged into Connect, and we're going to talk about the Connect side of things, what you see within your Click and Pledge account. So, I mean, the reason why we created the application within Swiper 1 is because since Swiper 1 is on mobile devices, you have really easy access to your camera for video or audio files. Simple, simple, simple to do that. Within Click and Pledge Connect, that's going to be more, if you want to do the settings and the management of it. Okay, so now I am logged into Connect, and the first area that you come to when you log into Connect is your fundraising area. So that's where I am right now. Again, you navigate through your account using this little launcher icon. But here under fundraising, because this is really, it may not be a fundraising activity, but it's a lot of people call it a friend raising activity. You're providing a thank you to a supporter for your organization. So here under shout out, there's 3 different areas that you have. You have your recording library, so you can see, what files were recorded. Also on here, this is typically a question that we get, is how can you see if somebody has watched the video or listened to the recording? You do have a column in here for play, so you can see if that supporter has played the video or listen to the audio recording. You also have resend features. So if you felt like you needed to resend it again, you can do that. You also have a log of the shout outs that were sent. You'll see that this is color coded. So again, I mentioned before that there is an expiration on the recordings. You don't want to have a lot of recordings hanging out there for this is for security purposes, but you can keep your recordings active for 99 days. After that point, it does expire. But again, you can see your list, what you named your file, what type of file it went out. If it's MP3, it was an audio file. MP4, it was a video file. And then really the area that you probably will spend your time, and really not a lot of time, is in your settings area. This is where, if you have your Twilio phone number, that can be in here. If you wanted to change the expiration date for your messages, Again, it defaults to 99 days, but if you want to make it shorter, you can. If you wanted to disable Shoutout for any reason, you could just uncheck that box and click update. If you wanted to add an image that goes along with your message, you can add your image in here. So maybe that's your organization logo, or maybe you've created a special thank you image that you want to include with a message. You can do that. And these settings, so really the first place I would start if I were to send out shout out, it would be in these email and SMS message settings. And it's basically just, who is the email coming from? What will the email address be, the reply to? If you want to have an internal email list when a shout out goes out, you can do that. And you can change the subject line. So if you want to get a little bit more specific on here, you can, maybe it's, you've received a message from our, executive director, or maybe it's, maybe the message is coming from a board member or something like that. If you want to get more specific, if you have like one person that's dedicated to this, you can do that. You can customize your message in here, and you can also see that you do have some wildcards or merge fields if you want to include that in your message as well. And just within, anything in our system, whenever you make changes to an area, always click update to save those changes. So that's really it. Those are the settings in here. Let's talk a little bit about Twilio. If you did want to do the text messaging option. One thing that we were talking about last week was SMS giving, the ability to do text to donate with Click and Pledge. And I think one of the really interesting pieces about it is that, people are much more likely to read a text message than they are to read an email. Part of it's maybe because we get so many emails these days, and text messaging is becoming a lot more popular, but I know my inbox is way more full than the number of text messages I receive. So, if you are concerned about, taking the time to send these messages, again, it does take very little time. These recordings they can be no more than a minute long. So it doesn't really take a lot of time to send them. But in general, if somebody receives a text message, they're probably going to pay more attention to it than if they were to receive an email. But again, this is totally up to you. But if you do want to do the text message option, then you do need to get a cell phone number from Twilio. And since our customers, Click and Pledge customers, are nonprofits, we would advise you to go to the website twilio.org, because this is geared to the nonprofit sector. And this is where you would go to get started, to get your cell phone number with them. Now, the pricing for a cell phone number, just basic cell phone number to doing this text messages, is $1 a month. And then for each text message, it is 3/4 of a cent. So less than a cent per text message. So it's a very inexpensive way to do any type of messaging through text messages. Now, also for the nonprofit sector, what Twilio has done is they are offering a $500 Kickstart credit. So $500, I just read off the prices for Twilio's cell phone numbers. This is going to get you a lot of text messages. So, that's certainly something that, you may want to apply for, their Kickstart credit. But this is where you would apply for it, and this is where you would get started getting that cell phone number. Now, once you have that cell phone number, and again, it's totally up to you if you want to do that or not, to set that up, again, within Connect, you're going to go up to the launcher icon, that little 4 square area, go to Settings, and then there's the 4-party integrations, 3-party integrations. Got a little ahead of myself, 4-party integrations. And you'll see on here, Twilio is listed in here. So you'll just provide the Twilio information that's needed to link up your Click and Pledge account and your Twilio account. Just another thing that I wanted to mention before we leave the Connect platform, but also within your transaction area. So again, I went to the launcher and I went to reports and transactions. If you're looking at your transaction information, so this is the details of a specific transaction. You can also see on here that there is an option for shout out. So if you happen to be in the transaction area, you will note that the shout out area is in here. And again, if you have that action, if you wanted to resend a shout out for whatever reason, you could click on that within transactions and go in here. That option is also at the top of the page. If maybe you hadn't sent a shout out, you have the option if you wanted to send a shout out, and it will take you back into this area as well. And since I did it within the transaction area, it's going back to the original file that was sent. Okay, now for any of you that are Salesforce users, let me show you what it looks like within our Salesforce application. And really, with shout outs, and when you think of your Salesforce CRM, and again, I realize not everyone here is a Salesforce user, but we may have a few. In Salesforce, you're really, you want to have that whole picture of your relationship with a particular supporter. So within your contact screen in our application, there will be an area in here. Let me just scroll down a little bit. CNP shout out. So it'll have that log of shout out messages that have been sent out to that particular individual. So, again, if you're giving their phone call, you can look through the screen and go, oh, okay, we had sent them some shout outs. Also in here, up in the lightning area up here at the top, there is a drop down box. You can choose shout out. And, again, let's say, we had briefly talked about that QR code option within Swiper One. Let's say that you just had a contact in here and it's like, I really should send them a shout out. Or maybe they hadn't given a gift for a while, so they weren't on the list. You can use this QR code with a Swiper One app to send that out, to send this specific person a message. So that's how it works within Salesforce. I did also want to show you, so I did a shout out before this presentation started, an email shout out. So I just wanted to show you what that email looks like. So this particular one is, we had added that image. Here's my message in here. There's a link to the recording, and then also we have that image of the recording as well. So I can just, as a supporter would, just click either of those, and then they could listen to the recording or view that recording as well. Okay, so that's basically it in a nutshell. I did want to point out our support resources because questions will always come up. Now here under, I'm on the Click and Pledge website and I'm on our knowledge base. And what I've done is I've searched for shout out. I do want to point out, because shout out, like the settings are in Connect, but the actual usage is in Swiper One. That you probably do need to look at both of those articles. Now in the link that you're going to receive tomorrow from Zoom, that thank you message for attending our webinar, I have included links for both of those articles, so you have that for easy access. And I'm also put a link to the recording of this particular session as well, so that's going to be there for you in that email, but it is also within our knowledge base articles as well. But really within there, you're going to have those instructions. Pretty much everything that I've talked about today should be in here. But if you have any questions for us, do realize we have lots of different options for support. Knowledge base article is always a good place to start, but if you need additional help, you can create a support ticket to get in touch with our support team. We have a live support. Live support occurs daily at, what time does it start? 3 p.m. Yes, 3 p.m. Eastern time. You do need to join by 3:30 to get your question answered, but I am one of those people that would much rather talk to a person than send an email. So, so live supports for people like me. What's nice about it is you can also share your screen. So depending on the type of question you have, that may be something that you can get to an answer quicker. Now, if you want a little more additional handheld support, we do have Premier support that is paid support. So, again, this is a crazy time of year end. You're getting ready for Giving Tuesday, for end of year giving. Maybe you just need to like speed through some things, have that additional person help you out. So Premier support is great for that. We also have a forum, if you'd like to read all the details of our latest releases, suggest new features, things like that, you can do that. And then we have our webinar archive that has a list of all of our webinars that we've done in the past. And we will be including, again, this link to this particular session. It takes a little bit to get the video up, but it will be up by tomorrow at this time. Okay, and I see that there has been some chatting going on, but let's go ahead and have a call for questions. You can use the Q&A area as well if you have any specific questions for us. Okay, good question. Is there an option to upload pre-recorded videos with Shoutout? Yes, I believe there is within, if you're using Swiper 1 and you've recorded a message on your phone, you can add that to your library. So if you are, have a message that you want to send out for maybe Giving Tuesday, you want to, create that, and have that in your library, you can do that. Now, again, it is, the recording can't be more than a minute. It has to be a short recording. So just keep that in mind. Any other questions? But that's it's great to think about, different ways you could get, certainly, you can look at this approach in lots of different ways. Some people will want to send a thank you shout out to everyone. Maybe you want to say, okay, we're going to send out a thank you to maybe a personal thank you to people who gave $50 or more. Maybe we'll do a more generic thank you to people that gave less. It's just another way to show your appreciation. And what's nice about it is this is a new feature. So this is something that's a more novel, and hopefully will get their attention, and they will appreciate it as they're coming into the giving season. Any more questions? And the question is, does it have to be recorded through Swiper 1, or can it be uploaded through an outside source? So it would need to be available on your mobile device that you are using, because wherever you do also have your Swiper 1 app. But yeah, and I'm going to double check that after this session as well. But I do believe that was a feature that they added. But the recording does need to be on your mobile device. So, if this is a recording that you have on like YouTube or something like that, that's not the purpose. It needs to be, something that's recorded on your mobile device. So it's easy to upload to Swiper 1. But I will double check that and get back with you after this webinar. But I do believe that is the case. You're very welcome. Any other questions? or anything else from our team that you think we need to cover as well?
I don't think so. I think we did a good job.
Okay.
Let me see if there's anything else.
And it did look like there were some specific questions, maybe specific to people's individual accounts. So again, I would probably, if you have a specific question, you're playing around with Swiper One, you have a question after this, again, feel free to reach out to our support team, either through a support ticket or live support as well. That could be very helpful. Okay, well, I don't see any more questions coming in. So I guess we'll go ahead and close up for today. Thank you so much, everyone. We appreciate you being here. Hopefully this has been very helpful to you. Again, we're very excited about this new tool. Hopefully your supporters will appreciate it, and have fun playing around with it. It is a really fun tool to play around with. Thanks so much. And from our team, we hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.